President Yoon holds talks with Japan's Prime Minister Kishida, who is visiting South Korea for 2 days before he leaves office. The agenda includes looking back on what's been achieved so far with regard to strained Seoul-Tokyo ties. South Korea posted a current account surplus for the third straight month in July, reaching over $9 billion, driven by robust chip exports. Seoul's iconic fashion event takes place this week, showcasing eye-catching K-fashion and, this year, sustainable fashion. It's September 6, 6 p.m. in Seoul. This is Newscenter.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Yoon. President Yoon just wrapped up a summit with Japanese Prime Minister Kishida in Yongsan, which would be their last summit before Kishida steps down from his current post. For more, let's connect to our correspondent Kim Do-yeon at the presidential office. Do-yeon, what is the latest?
Good evening, Jungmin. President Yoon welcomed the Japanese Prime Minister at around 3:30 p.m. earlier this afternoon. This is the 12th and the last summit between the two because, as you said, Kishida is set to step down from his post at the end of this month. The two leaders have worked together since a year and a half ago when the so-called shuttle diplomacy was revived by the two leaders. Take a listen to what they had to say about each other.
총리님과 함께 일궈온 성과들은 제가 대통령에 취임한 이후 가장 의미 있는 일이었습니다. 경제와 안보를 비롯한 여러 분야에서 정부 간 협의체들이 모두 복원되었습니다. 그리고 활발한 소통과 협의가 이루어지고 있습니다.
Since President Yoon's significant decision in March of last year, dialogue and cooperation between our two countries have begun to advance significantly in many areas, following the direction that we set forth together at the Tokyo summit.
After a simple, short welcoming, the two first met with their top diplomatic officials, such as the Foreign Minister, National Security Advisor, and others. Then the two got into an expanded group meeting. According to Deputy National Security Advisor Kim Tae-hyo just moments ago, the two sides reached several agreements. First, they agreed that the two countries would aid each other's citizens upon conflict in third countries. They will share information regarding their overseas nationals, acknowledging that this cooperation framework would add to the protection of their citizens. Second, they also agreed to simplify the border entry for both sides. Furthermore, South Korea has received documents from Japan listing the victims of forced labor during Imperial Japan's wartime colonization of Korea.
All right, now let's delve a little bit more into the summit. Tell us about the significance.
As for the background, the local media have dubbed the two's relationship as bromance. Before President Yoon visited Tokyo in March 2023, the two nations were not enjoying the best of relationships. There was a big historical issue between them, the compensation for Korean victims forced to work by Japan during World War II. But as I said, with President Yoon offering a solution from the South Korean side first, the two leaders revived the relationship, leading to the current rate of civilian exchanges and more. Also, in terms of security, they expanded cooperation, including the trilateral Camp David summit with the U.S., where the three countries documented security exchanges. In addition, the two won the John F. Kennedy Profile in Courage Award together. Now, more details on their way. I'll make sure to have an update for you at our later newscast. Jungmin.
Our presidential office correspondent Kim Do-yeon, many thanks. Amid the major medical dispute so far lasted for over half a year, the government and the ruling party hinted at a possible adjustment in the size of expanding the medical school admissions quota, as they proposed a dialogue with doctors' organizations. Eyes are on whether there could be a breakthrough. Lee Si-hoo reports.
This is a move that may potentially thaw the frosty relationship with doctors that has lasted nearly 7 months since the government announcement of the medical school enrollment increase. The ruling party and the government shared their willingness on Friday to discuss the potential size of the increase for the 2026 medical school admissions quota. People Power Party floor leader Chu Kyung-ho urged the medical doctors who resigned from their hospital posts to protest the greater enrollment at medical schools to look for a logical solution together with the government and the ruling party. Meanwhile, both the PPP and the main opposition Democratic Party throughout this week have suggested a special body consisting of members from the rival parties, the government, and doctors' organizations to discuss the numbers for 2026. The ruling party especially deems the quota for 2025 unnegotiable, as it's already been announced on application guides. However, the doctors assert the need to discuss the quota for both years, saying they should reconsider the numbers for 2025 first. Lee Si-hu, Arirang News.
In other news, South Korea's current account logged yet another surplus in the month of July, bolstered by exports of semiconductors. Lee Soo-jin has the latest numbers.
South Korea's current account was in the black for the third straight month in July on the back of strong semiconductor exports. Preliminary data released by the Bank of Korea on Friday showed that the country's overall current account balance in July logged a surplus of $9.1 billion. After swinging into the red for the first time in a year in April, the current account balance once again recorded a surplus in May and has remained in the black for 3 consecutive months. And while July's surplus is smaller than that of June when the nation recorded its largest current account surplus in nearly 7 years, it was the largest for the month of July since 2015. With this latest data, the current account balance in the first 7 months of the year tallied up to around $47 billion, a significant surge from the $5.2 billion recorded the previous year over the same period. The latest figures for July were mainly driven by the goods balance, which tracks exports and imports of products. The goods balance logged a surplus of $8.5 billion, marking the 16th consecutive month in the black. While that surplus was smaller than the June surplus, it was larger than the one recorded in July 2023. Exports rose nearly 17% on year in July to $58.6 billion, mainly driven by strong demand for semiconductor chips. This is the 10th consecutive month that outbound shipments have shown an increase, with chip exports rising around 50% compared to the previous year. But imports also saw an increase of 9.4%. The services balance once again recorded a deficit amounting to $2.4 billion, which was similar to the previous year when it came to $2.6 billion, but larger compared to 1 month ago when it logged $1.6 billion.
The services balance logged a larger deficit than the previous month, as the travel deficit grew due to the increase in outbound tourism from the summer holiday season.
The Bank of Korea official also projected that the current account will record a surplus in the second half of the year, as exports are expected to remain strong with the continued recovery in the global manufacturing sector. Lee Soo-jin, Arirang News.
Following a reported case of an EV catching fire recently making headlines here in this country, the authorities have come up with measures which include disclosing key information on batteries. Park Go-nu tells us more.
1 month after an electric vehicle caught fire in an underground parking lot in the city of Incheon and destroyed scores of other cars, the South Korean government announces EV safety measures to prevent similar cases from happening.
We'll make sure that EV batteries and charging facilities are safe. We'll check battery safety in advance and make it mandatory to disclose major information, including the battery manufacturer and technologies used.
The certification system for EV batteries was originally planned to be implemented in February 2025, but has been brought forward as a pilot project. Cell manufacturers and major raw materials are now classed as major information to be revealed mandatorily, along with battery capacity and maximum output, which has already been disclosed. The government also came up with ways to protect consumers in case their electric vehicles catch fire. EV makers will have to take out liability insurance policies for their products, or they won't receive subsidies when manufacturing electric vehicles. And a battery management system that monitors the status of car batteries will be widely used in more vehicles from now on. More details related to these safety measures are set to be discussed until the end of this year. Park Go-nu, Arirang News.
North Korea continues to float waste-carrying balloons into South Korea, and this time it sent some 260 such balloons between Thursday evening and early Friday morning. They were carrying paper and plastic bottles. According to the Joint Chiefs of Staff, about 140 balloons landed in the greater Seoul region. North Korea has launched thousands of trash balloons in recent months in protest of propaganda leaflets floated up north by North Korean activists and defectors here in the south. Pundits have made note of the timing of the latest launches as it coincides with Japanese Prime Minister Kishida's visit and the upcoming Chuseok holiday. Over in Gaza, as the first phase of polio vaccinations has ended, Israel resumed striking the strip, leaving at least 5 people dead and numerous injured. Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says 90% of a ceasefire deal was ready. Cha Yoon has more.
At least 5 people were killed in a tent camp near Al-Aqsa Hospital, which was hit by an Israeli airstrike, leaving a scene of devastation. The strike, which killed women and children, occurred on Thursday local time without warning near Gaza's largest hospital, which was considered a safe zone as a place of treatment, a few hours after the World Health Organization revealed that the first phase of the polio campaign has concluded successfully in Gaza. Health officials said the vaccination program was built around the deal between Israel and Hamas made last week for brief pauses in hostilities in Gaza. The WHO said the vaccinations will be carried out for 9 days in total, in the order of central, southern, and northern Gaza, adding that the second phase, which began on Thursday in the south, is scheduled to last 3 days. The third and final phase is planned for northern Gaza. In a separate attack, an Israeli airstrike reportedly also hit the northern part of the Gaza Strip, killing at least 4 people after striking in the vicinity of the Kamal Adwan hospital, according to Palestinian officials. Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken stated that 90% of a deal was ready to finalize the Gaza truce at a news conference during a visit to Haiti on Thursday local time, saying there were still some remaining issues, including the Philadelphia corridor. Blinken said that it was incumbent on both parties to get to yes on these remaining issues, urging Israel and Hamas to share ideas on reaching a ceasefire deal in Gaza. However, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu denied the assertion on Wednesday local time, saying it's not close in an interview with Fox News. Cha Yoon, Arirang News.
The White House has denounced Russian leader Vladimir Putin's interference in U.S. domestic politics. This follows Mr. Putin's public assertion of support for Democratic contender Kamala Harris in the upcoming U.S. presidential race. Lee Seung-jae has the details.
It's an endorsement U.S. Vice President and Democrat presidential candidate Kamala Harris doesn't need. One from Russian President Vladimir Putin. Speaking on the sidelines of the Eastern Economic Forum on Thursday, the Russian leader jokingly endorsed Harris for president.
We had the current president, Mr. Biden, as our favorite, if I can call it that, but now he has been taken out of the race. But he recommended that all his allies support Harris. That's what we're going to do. We're going to support her. That's first of all and second of all.
Putin further jokingly expressed his support, saying that her expressive and infectious laugh shows that she's doing well. Former U.S. President and Republican candidate Donald Trump has attacked Harris for her laugh throughout the campaign, going as far as to call her Laughing Kamala. The Russian leader added that Trump has imposed a large number of sanctions on Russia, expressing hope that Harris would refrain from taking such actions if she wins the elections. He also stressed that as the U.S. president is chosen by the American people, he will respect that decision. In response to Putin's remarks, the White House on Thursday called on the Russian leader to stop interfering in U.S. elections.
Mr. Putin ought to stop talking about our elections, period. He shouldn't be favoring anybody, one way or another. The only people who should get to determine who the next president of the United States is the American people. And we would greatly appreciate it if Mr. Putin would A, stop talking about our election, and B, stop interfering in it.
The comments also come after Washington charged 2 employees of Russia's state-run news network RT for money laundering, saying they paid an American company to create online content to influence the 2024 election. 이승재, Arirang News.
The U.S. Commerce Department has unveiled fresh export curbs on critical technologies such as quantum computing to foreign countries of concern, including China. These are less likely to impact South Korean companies. Pei-Eun-ji reports.
The United States unveiled new controls on the exporting of advanced technologies that are crucial to its national security. The rules affect quantum computing items, such as components, materials, software, and technology that can be used in the development and maintenance of quantum computers. They also impact manufacturing equipment for advanced chips, as well as a cutting-edge semiconductor technology called gate-all-around field effect transistors that help develop high-performance chips used in supercomputers. In an announcement on Thursday local time, the U.S. Department of Commerce said the new measures were implemented for national security and foreign policy reasons, as it seeks to harmonize controls with like-minded countries. The worldwide export controls include exemptions for countries that have similar measures in place, such as Japan and the Netherlands, as well as other allies. South Korea was not immediately included in that list, but the U.S. reportedly plans to approve export licenses for South Korea, so there will likely be limited impact on South Korean companies. The latest export curbs appear to be targeting China and other adversaries such as Russia and Iran to prevent them from accessing cutting-edge technologies. This comes amid recent fears that advanced chips and components could help boost China's military capabilities. Senior U.S. commerce official Alan Estevez said in a statement on Thursday that the latest export controls make it significantly difficult for Washington's adversaries to develop and deploy these technologies in ways that threaten their collective security. Pei-Eun-ji, Arirang News.
This week, Seoul Fashion Week takes place in the capital, showcasing exciting Korean fashion and more on the global stage. Our Yoon, he guides us through major takeaways.
K-pop stars NewJeans are ready to make waves in the fashion world, serving as the 2025 Spring and Summer Seoul Fashion Week's ambassadors for the second year. The girl group aims to elevate global interest in K-fashion. This year's Seoul Fashion Week runs from September 3rd to September 7th at Dongdaemun Design Plaza and other locations in the city. Seoul has become a fashion hotspot, with Seoul Fashion Week leading the way. The week showcases cutting-edge K-fashion and provides emerging Korean brands with a global stage. Let's dive into the fashion trends and standout moments from this year's event.
Fashion industry is kind of high level, I would say, because there are a lot of brands compared to Russia, for example, and also a lot of ways to express yourself.
I took lots of pictures today, over there and in front of the teddy bear. I also did some challenges.
The opening fashion show featured designer Imuel's streetwear brand, User. It kicked off the 21 runway shows scheduled over the 5-day fashion week. This year's Fashion Week centers on the theme Sustainable Fashion. Fashion brand Parts is showing its collection to emphasize the urgent need for fashion to be more sustainable.
Parts has adhered to a zero-waste philosophy using only one material for the past 13 years.
The essence of Seoul Fashion Week lies in connecting brand designers and buyers, and this season features 95 brands and over 100 global buyers. Another innovative fashion event born to facilitate cultural exchange between South Korea and Italy is Milan Loves Seoul. Following its successful debut in Milan last February, the event has now landed in Seoul. An exclusive exhibition and fashion show featuring leading brands from both countries is hosted at High Street Italia, located on Gangnam's trendy Garosu-gil Street. The project creators view Korea as the most interesting place to create something new.
This place is evolving very fast, and we think that in Italy we need this kind of networking with the Korean designers. So Milan Loves Seoul really loves Korea, and I think that Korea really loves Italy.
We hope that thanks to this project, our Italian designer will open a new market here in Korea, find new business opportunity for them, but same Korean designer in Italy.
Italian brand Noskra displays its collection that has a touch of the latest Korean fashion trends.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of connection between Italy and Korea, especially in the fashion world. That I think the product, the concept, and the silhouette are like in line with the Korean taste.
The event is about more than just fashion. It's a cultural exchange between Korea and Italy. 13 Italian designers are showcasing their work, and on September 7th, Korean and Italian designers will team up for a special fashion show. For the Korean models, the show gives them the opportunity to work with Italian designers.
It's such a great honor to be able to take part in this amazing event. Given the opportunity to model and represent Milan brands in South Korea. I'm so grateful, thankful.
I wear the clothes for Francesca Cottone, and the color is everything, and it's so beautiful. I'm genuinely grateful to participate as model with these amazing designer brands and fabulous clothes. So I'll do my best to show you guys a great look.
Seoul, brimming with style, shows how fashion can connect countries and people with a touch of chic. Yoon, Arirang News.
As the easterly winds blow, it is currently raining on the east coast and scattered showers are passing over other inland areas. It will continue lightly until tonight, but be careful because it can fall strongly with gusty winds and lightning in the southern parts of the country. There will be a lot of clouds across the country this weekend, so preparations are necessary for surprise showers. Tomorrow, showers will pass over western parts of Gangwon-do province and southern parts of the Chungcheong-do provinces and the southwest. On Sunday, showers will be seen in western parts of Gangwon-do province and southern regions. Tomorrow morning's temperature will start at 24 degrees Celsius in Seoul, and there will be many places below 25 degrees. Seoul will move up to 31 along with Daejeon, Gwangju, Gyeongju, and Busan. With a lot of clouds passing over inland areas next week, late heat of above 30 degrees is expected to continue until the end of next week. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world. That is Newscenter for tonight. Thanks for watching. A panel session up next.